Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pernigo, and today we are going to be beginning the Antioch Chronicles. I am playing in 1.16.1, and I have added, I've actually ported the old executable, which was for a very old version of StarCraft, to 1.16.1 as well, for anybody who would like to play it in the latest non-remastered patch. I will, at some point, give it a go porting this to remastered, but it will come at the cost of the custom portraits. But as of right now, as of the recording of this video, that has not been attempted yet. Although something to note is that I have added the framework, which was used for things like in Consummate and the Insurrection Remastered mod by Vorgaz, as well as Siege of Korhal, which is a Mapcraft submission by Necron, to this particular production. So that is now available. It contains like building work animations for a lot of the buildings that didn't have them. Idle animations for Zerglings, Ultralisks, Zealots, and then windowed mode as an optional plugin. So there's going to be a couple of other things that come with it eventually, but that's what's included in this one. So I just thought I'd let everybody know that if you want to experience the Antioch Chronicles in that regard, you can do so. Alright, that being said, let's move on. We have Mission 1 here, Approach to Antioch. A loss of contact with Antioch prompts a recon mission at the province's edge. Alright, so there's only, I say only, but let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, only 9 missions, wow. For some, all the numbers confuse me. I thought there was actually like more than 9. But no, there's only 9 maps, and they're all SCMs, so there will not be any Brood War tech. This was actually a campaign created in, I believe, 1998, so at the very least it was created before Brood War launched, so that's why these are SCMs. They were all made with the vanilla editor. There's nothing incredibly custom about them, besides the fact that they have some custom portraits, and really, really well-made voice acting, I think, at least for most of the characters. There's a couple of that are much weaker, but we'll get to those eventually. Alright, let's begin. Episode 1, Psionic Storm! Created by Auspex, yeah, in 98 and 99. Look at that. Approach to Antioch.
Entaro Adun, Executor. I am Judicator Termalis. I have been sent to inform you of the recent loss of contact with the province of Antioch, the once home of Prayer to Phoenix. Scouts inform us that a psionic dead zone has been blocking all communication into or out of the province. This field appears to have no ill effect on our troops. However, without adequate communication, it is impossible to determine the status of our forces inside the province itself. Observer patrols report sporadic Zerg sightings in the outlying areas. Your first task will be to reconnoiter the Antioch outlands and subsequently establish a working outpost in the area. If there are indeed Zerg nearby, we must know as soon as possible. We await your report.
So just very, like, classic vanilla type feel to the voice acting for Termalis there. And generally speaking, I think that it set the bar for custom content pretty high immediately out the gate in terms of the production value, in terms of things like voice acting and such, that obviously only recently people have really started to try and achieve again. I really think that the Antioch Chronicles was a project that in general was one of a kind. You know, it has 2 episodes and then a small little bonus called the Korhal Connection that I'm sure I'll play at some point. But in general, it's definitely a sterling sort of diamond in the rough, especially for a project that was so early on in its in StarCraft's existence. So our objectives are to scout the area for Zerg, find a location suitable for an outpost, and to build some basic structures. So we shall do that. It's a very vanilla-style mission. Not a whole lot going on. So let's start heading out. Now this project was ported to StarCraft 2, actually. Kill this bagel ass here. And it was ported to StarCraft 2 by Team Antioch, who are now working on adapting the plans for the unfinished 3rd episode, I believe called Thoughts in Chaos. So that's pretty exciting. Eventually we may have the conclusion to the story. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But for the time being, this is basically all we have. So we're just fighting through some basic Zerg forces here. Nothing too crazy. Again, very vanilla style, right? Like, if you remember the Fall, the third campaign, the vanilla Protoss campaign, this is sort of what you experience in that campaign. So, you know, just having Zerg on Ire, trying to deal with that as best that you can. We only start out with 400 minerals, so let's move this Dragoon out of the way. There we go. Some sick, high-intensity micro here. But one thing that I like about the immediate characterization of this particular campaign is that the... Whoa. That was spooky. Oh, we're going to lose a Dragoon rather carelessly. Let's go ahead and set up our Nexus there. So, basically one thing that I really find really just cool about this particular project is that it does try to be a little bit more than what Brood War was, than what Vanilla was. It tries to, remember, Brood War wasn't out yet at this point, so it really does seem like a pretty cool sort of analysis of the vanilla campaigns that we didn't really get beforehand. So I think that's pretty neat. Generally speaking, you don't expect... I don't think anybody could have expected this level of a sort of like spiritual successor to come from a fan-made effort so early in the game's life cycle. That's what I really have to point out. Like, the game wasn't even a year old when episode 1 of the Antioch Chronicles landed. So I think that's really cool. And personally, I think that episode 2 has stronger gameplay, but I will say, full disclosure, I have not actually played either of these episodes in probably a few years. So I guess we can go ahead and save. Oh, we can purge Phoenix. What the fuck? Get this out of here. Okay. Okay. There we go. We've begun our saves. And, yeah. Really not much else to say. Oh, I think I added Smart Rally here. We'll have a chance to test once we have some extra psi here. Unfortunately, it makes me sigh that we have to sit here and wait for 2 probes to harvest resources. I think a low-impact update to the map could be made, or to this series of maps could be made, that would resolve some issues like this, and I think Antioch Remastered may have attempted some of that stuff. I'm not 100% positive about that. But, I suppose that remains to be seen. I think some Zerg forces attack you after you build a gateway or something. There is some other sort of interaction that we can do. We don't have to just sit around and do nothing. It's not like the Terran tutorial or the first Terran mission, for that matter. There is an element of sort of challenge, I guess, maybe is the wrong word. I think it shows some degree of, not necessarily foresight, but self-awareness. Because you have to realize, probably, like, as you're developing this campaign, that most people have played the first game. So, of course, you would want to develop something that was engaging for people who had already played the first campaign and want more. And the Antioch Chronicles really does deliver that, I think. Especially, you know, taking into account when it was shipped. You know, it's not like this was a campaign that came out in 2018 or something. You know, this is a campaign that came out almost 20 years ago. So, I'll make up my mind exactly on how I feel about whether or not the campaign aged as well, worse than, better than the default Blizzard campaigns. But I have a feeling that the second campaign's expansion, or gameplay rather, was a little bit better. No, it doesn't look like I added Smart Rally. That's fine. Who needs it anyways, right? But yeah, I just think it's really cool that we finally get to play The Antioch Chronicles. I talked it up on my interview with Jay Marino after he finished in Consummate, and I was talking up the Antioch Chronicles like nobody's business. I was like, yeah, it's a great campaign. Really motivated me to. It's really what got me started in the idea of like I want to make my own campaign. I want to tell a story like that. It was actually more compelling to me as a potential creator than the campaigns of Blizzard themselves. Not necessarily because there's like a qualitative difference there that can be observed. It was actually just because I was very impressed by the fact that you could make this. As a fan of a game, you could make a campaign that is of this caliber in terms of its like voice acting and stuff, which is what really drew me in. Like that seemingly surface level bonus stuff, right? It's still important to have good gameplay, but that bonus stuff goes a long way. You'd be surprised at how well it draws people in. So, I don't know. I'm definitely a big fan. What are our mission objectives again? Nexus, Assimilator, Gateway, Forge, Cybernetics Core. Well, we have to build an Assimilator, but we won't need gas. I don't know if this is going to hit us with the good old... Oh, boy. We can just send a single Zealot up here to clear this out. We'll just go ahead and grab the Cybernetics Core. Hey, what the fuck? Yep, yeah, here they are. Let's see if we can draw them away from our key structures here. Yeah, this is a lot of units, actually. We might have to reload just to get our units in better position. Oh, we have the... What are you guys doing? Well, I guess you're coming down here to help my Dragoon. But... wow, that's a lot of fucking units. This is way more than I remembered. Definitely an element of, seemingly, anyways, an element of... Here, you know what? Well, we can't do that yet. We don't have enough... We don't have enough, supply to requisition another Zealot. Oh, now we do. So I think what happens is all of the units that are left on the map get sent on random suicide missions or something. I don't think these are spawned in. So that should be that. I think we can probably salvage this operation here. As long as our main structure here doesn't die. Unfortunately, our units are sort of walled in. Oh, never mind. They are certainly spawned. Holy shit. That's crazy. Alright, well, here's what I'll do. Since it's obviously tied to the gateway, I'm just going to build a forge. And then we'll get some cannons, because clearly that's something we need to invest in. We can just mine. Sort of sit idle. Yeah, that's pretty unreasonable. You definitely have to know that that's coming, which is, I think, a bit of a mistake. Now, if I'm right about those brown units sort of just coming from all over the place, and that's where, you know, not necessarily the challenge lies, but those brown units are... Oh, you know what? These red units seem to be coming from a couple of different directions. Now, do we have enough money? Yeah, I think we have enough money to get all the rest of the structures we need. Even if we warp in 2 cannons here. Split our zealots up here. Try and keep as many alive as possible. Wow, that's a lot of Zerglings. I think we need to pull some of our probes off to... Holy shit! What are you supposed to do against this? I guess not have... Oh my god. Okay, well, now we need to reload again! Wow, this is fucked. Okay, cancel this. Just send 1 zealot over here. And then we're going to take... I think it may be a timed thing after your Nexus. I'm not sure, though. No, there's just some red Zerglings as well. So maybe you can clear these out before you actually... If we can attack them, like, piecemeal and not have to deal with them all at once, that's probably a way better way of doing this. In which case... I don't know. I don't know if I feel confident enough in my abilities to pick them all off in a timely manner. But I suppose if we stockpile enough money, we can warp in like the forge, the gateway, and everything else. Hey, wake up. Okay. So the red Zerglings seem to be stationed further out, and mostly to the right. Here's a whole big force of brown units. I think this is because they were pre-placed with the idea that there's a good chance you could go this way instead of the left way. Alright, let's pull this guy back. He's pretty weak. I guess what we could have done is attempted to go for the like a shield battery or something, and then keep our units alive. It's definitely not what you expect from an opening mission. Let's see. I'm sure there's some more stuff over here. But yeah, if we can snipe away most of this junk, get rid of most of it, that's fine by me. Let's start everything. Yeah. As should be expected here. I wonder what the difference... I don't know why they're colored differently. It must just be for flavor, because it doesn't look like there's one that has upgrades and one that doesn't or anything like that. So now we should have significantly less forces to deal with. Let's make a cycle save in case we need to, for some awful reason, reload from the beginning. But I think that should be mostly everything. Probably fat-fingered that. I'm wearing gloves because it's very cold. Yeah, so just a couple of units that were left over here. We can bring the Zealot down. Wow, maybe more than a couple. Wow, holy shit, they really did a lot, but it's okay, because I think we win as soon as the Cyber Core comes up, and we have some units that we can distract them with. Here, pull them away. Hey, we did it! Yeah, so if you don't clear the map of most of the enemy dots before you start warping in stuff, you definitely get screwed. And I think a big problem with that design philosophy is that you're not communicating that information to the player. And if you don't communicate the defeat conditions, like obviously if you lose your structures, you lose the game. Like you can't win. But if you don't communicate what could cause you defeat, and you just sort of fuck with them over and over again, I mean, a player that's not really familiar with triggering might not even know that that's what's happening, and that you're triggering the Zerg to do that as soon as you build up, you know, a forge or a gateway or something like that. So an interesting take on the first mission idea for sure. Certainly lulls you into a false sense of security with the Zerg not really doing anything. But I think it's, you know, if this happened in the Phoenix, I probably would lose my shit. But I'm going to try and tone that down, and hope that the Antioch Chronicles' future maps are a bit more reasonable. I'll leave it that way. So yeah, I'm Protogo. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye-bye.